You are now listening to The Art of Reinvention by Teflon John, where my goal is to inspire you mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually. And I just want to help you grow the garden of your mind. I just want to change the world one person at a time by giving them motivational advice, inspirational advice. And right now, I'm glad that you're tuning in to the podcast show. So we want you to sit back, open up your mind, and just absorb all the content. Please share this content across all of your social media platforms as it will help this show grow. Sit back and enjoy. One love. Be blessed.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy MarTrey Stevens, where I'm Mighty Motivation, your youth motivator, your inspiration, your youth mentor, your youth server, out here just trying to do God's will and trying to help wherever I can. You can catch this with I Am Teflon John. You can find it on his page. Thank him for the opportunity of putting this platform out there for people like me where we can share our content and give it out to the world. This is the Mighty Motivation Podcast, and I'm talking today about you don't have to pretend to be nobody. And again, I'm going off of my Mighty Motivational Monday video, which I do every single Monday, and that was titled Fake. And the F in fake stood for following people, following the crowd. The A stood for attention seeking. The K stood for knockoff. And the E stood for enemy to yourself, because there are a lot of fake people out here who are pretending to be somebody else. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that. So find out who you are, and I need you to own it. Find out who you are, and I need you to own it, because there are so many people in this world that pretend to be somebody that they're not. So what they do, they follow the crowd, and they do things that's outside of their character, and it makes them worse, and it doesn't make them any better. Because you are sitting there, you're following somebody else's habits, and now they have become your habits. But God has given you a unique gift on this earth that He hasn't given anybody else. He's made you separate from everybody else. He has put something on the inside of you that's separate from everybody else. And you're trying to be somebody else. It's not for you to be them. Can't nobody be you better than you. And can't nobody be somebody else better than they can. So why would you continue to try to be somebody else? Why would you continue to follow somebody else's footsteps when that's not your destination? You're being led astray because you're a follower. And that's the first thing in people that's being fake. They're followers. They're not leaders, they're followers. They do anything that somebody tells them to do. They move in any direction that somebody points them to. And they're easily influenced. They start doing things that's out of their character just because they want to fit in. Don't follow the crowd. Don't try to fit in when you were born to stand out. And there are so many people into this world today that want to be like everybody else except for themselves. You want to be like everybody else except being you. And people who, I'll tell you this, people who begin to try to act like everybody else find out down the road that they're unhappy. So don't try to be somebody today, and then in 3, 4, 5 years, you find out you're unhappy. You're unhappy because you're somebody else. You're not you. They don't like the things that you like. They don't know what the things that make you happy. They don't do the things that you like. You do the things that they like. You doing the things that pleases them. And when you get down the line, you realize, hey, mate, this won't for me. This won't for me. And I had to realize that in my own life, like I started drinking alcohol. Trying to get rid of my problems, but I was doing it because that's what other people were doing to get rid of their problems. I was a follower. And after years of drinking, I realized I don't like it. I never liked the taste of alcohol. I was doing it because everybody else was doing it to try to get rid of their problems. I like the effect of it. But the taste of it, oh, disgusting. I never met a alcoholic beverage that I actually enjoyed drinking. That's because I wasn't meant for that. It was not something that pleased me. It was something that pleased other people. And I started doing it, trying to make it please me. And down the road, I realized, hey, you're unhappy. This isn't you. And there's so many people who do that. So if you're in school, I'm telling you, do what you're supposed to do. Be who you're supposed to become. Don't follow the next man. You know what you're supposed to be doing. Continue to do it. Identify yourself right now. Identify yourself right now without any influence. Find out what makes you happy right now without getting anybody else's opinion. Don't ask nobody else nothing. I want you to just sit down. I want you to get a sheet of paper. I want you to write down all the things that you do well. And then I want you to formulate everything that you do well into something that you could do in the future. How can that make you better in the future? Find out what makes you happy. Stick with it. Find out the things that you like. Stick with it. You ain't got to apologize for being you to nobody. You don't have to try to fit in with anybody. It's fake. And people will respect you more when you just be yourself. Just because other people are smoking don't mean you have to. People will respect you even more. You tell them, nah, I'm good. Rather than you take a puff just because everybody else taking a puff. And they'll give it to you because a lot of people like to see you fall and like to be the reason that you fall. Don't buy into what other people want you to do. Just because they drinking don't mean you gotta drink. You might not like it. Don't sit there and try to pretend to like it just because everybody else is. Ladies, you do not have to have sex with every man just to get them to like you. If they liked you, they'd be cool without the sex. You don't need a man like that just look at you as sex, because men would do that if you allow them to do it. You're more valuable than not giving it up than you are in just giving it up to any and everybody. Because once you do that, you create a reputation, and every man that you meet know about your reputation. They only want one thing from you. But if you know your value, if you know not to just lay around with anybody, just for somebody else to like you, just to fit in, just to be into this crowd because you're a follower, I'm telling you, you'll be better off if you lead. You'll be better off if you become different. You're better off if you use your uniqueness and stop trying to be like everybody else. Just because this one girl is getting so much attention because she's sleeping with everybody, you don't need that attention. All attention isn't good attention. So F is for fake. F is for being a follower. A is for attention seeking. There are so many people who seek attention by doing dumb stuff. So some people seek attention and they start doing drugs. They seek attention and they start failing classes. They seek attention and they start going 50%. They seek attention and they start sleeping with any and everybody. Because you want to be seen. You can be seen the right way by doing the right things. I'd rather see you succeed. I'd rather see you be different. I'd rather see you and congratulate you. I'd rather see you and say, wow, I respect that. Than see you and be concerned about you. To see you and say, oh, that's not them. I'm telling you, it hurts so many people around you when they see you acting out of your character. Like some of you kids ain't bad kids. It's just when you get in a different environment, you act different. You act like the environment. Don't go into an environment and act like the environment. Go into the environment and be the difference in the environment. Be you. Because if you're going into the environment and you're so easily influenced, man, imagine if a lion went into another habitat and became a deer, running away from everything instead of being a chaser of what it wants. Listen to me, you're not a deer. You're a lion. Act like who you are inside of another environment. Because some of y'all don't do the things that you do away from home that you do in the house. Some of you are good kids at home, and it baffles your parents. It baffles the people that love you, because when they hear about you at school, when they hear about you outside of the home, they don't believe it, because It's out of your character. They hearing about what you doing, acting like somebody else. You're pretending. You're a knockoff. K stands for knockoff. You emulating somebody else. You doing what everybody else doing. Why would you want to be a knockoff? Most of y'all wouldn't even buy knockoff shoes. You laugh if somebody wore knockoff shoes and you a knockoff person? You trying to be somebody else and you a lesser version of them? Because you can't be better. You can't be somebody else better than they can be themselves. You're a knockoff. And when you get a knockoff product, it's not made of the same material, which means it's not built to last like the real thing. It's a lot cheaper. You want to be a cheaper version of somebody else? That's crazy. You want to walk through life being somebody else's shadow? That's crazy. You're better than that. God made you different from everybody else in the world. Your fingerprint is like nobody else. Like nobody else that ever lived. This fingerprint, it's only one of these. It's only going to be one of these. Millions of years later, it's still only going to be one of these. My fingerprint. And I'm going to make sure I'm going to leave my mark on this earth because can't nobody be me better than me. And I need you to be the same way. Can't nobody be you better than you, so why try to be somebody else? Why are you sitting there trying to be somebody that you're not? And I'll give you an example. I love Tupac. I love Tupac's music. But I didn't agree with a lot of Tupac's antics outside of the music. Tupac was a very, very intelligent guy. You watch him in his interviews, you listen to his music, you like, wow, this guy is very, very intelligent. But when you seen him on the streets, spitting in the cameras, you seen him on the streets, shooting at people, you seen him in the streets, rolling with certain type of people, you're like, that's not smart at all. It's because when you start hanging with a certain type of group, and they have an influence on what it is that you do. So when Tupac got with Suge Knight, a known blood member, he began to live the life that they were living, and it wasn't him. And it was killing the people that was around him because they knew it wasn't Tupac. And that's what got Tupac killed, was trying to portray somebody else. Somebody else's life. He didn't have to be a thug. He didn't have to be a gangster. All he had to do was write great music. All he had to do was tell stories. All he had to do was use his intelligence to make everybody around him greater. But he got caught up in a lifestyle of pretending to be everybody else that he was around. And I'm telling you, you do not have to do that. Be smart. If you're smart, why would you want to hang with the dummies and take on their persona? Why would you come down off your pedestal, come down off of your amazingness, come down off your greatness to be average, to be below average? Come on now, E stands for enemy to yourself. E stands for enemy to yourself. You only hurting you. You're not hurting them. You're joining along with what they're doing. So when you go from great to average to fit in, you hurting yourself. When you act in a certain way, knowing that you're better than that, you hurting yourself. When you put yourself in a certain environment, knowing you're more dominant to that, you're hurting yourself. So you smoking and drinking just because other people are doing it, you hurting yourself. Because this is what you don't get. If you're around people that's smoking all the time, what happens when you get caught with it? So now you're going to be out of character from doing drugs to having possession of drugs, and that you could possibly go to jail. And now you're really an outcast because you really don't belong there because it's not in your character. But nobody care because they see you, they see your charges, they see who you hang with, and they think that's you. And it's not. It's somebody else. It's the people that you hang with. It's the people that you associate with every single day. Stop pretending. Stop pretending. You hurting you. You hurting the people that really know you because they know what you're really capable of. I've seen so many people try to be a thug and they don't have to be. There's some people in big cities. There's some people that come from low income homes. There are people who really have to go out there, and I'm not condoning it, but I understand it sometimes. They have to sell drugs just to eat, just to pay the bills. They have to do some things that's against the law just to get by. I don't condone it, but I understand it sometimes. But there are so many people who try to portray that life that they don't have to do that. You come from good people, man. You come from a good family. You come from a good home. You have opportunities right in front of you. But you want to be your favorite rapper. You want to be the dude that got all the tattoos and got a flag outside his pocket when you don't have to do that. Some people get out of their character so much that they go do 4 years in jail instead of doing 4 years in college when you smart. Then you in jail talking about I got my GED. You could have did that on the outside, bro. Oh yeah, I'm really working on myself. You could have did that on the outside, bro. If you really knew who you were, if you really knew how to identify yourself, you could have did that at home. But what did you do? You got out of character. You start trying to be what everybody else wanted you to be. You trying to do what everybody else wanted you to do. And you got caught up trying to be somebody else. You do not have to pretend. You do not have to pretend. You do not have to be a thug. You do not have to sell drugs. You do not have to sleep with everybody. You do not have to not have a job and try to take advantage of the government. You do not have to do some of these things that you do. You can go out and get a job. You can go out and work for what you want. You can go out and be the best that you can be. You can go out and take care of your kids. You can give your kids something that nobody else can give them. But instead, you rather sit at home and be somebody else. You rather be the people that you hang with. I love my boys, but if they were smoking and drinking and doing a whole bunch of other stuff, I'm not following them. We're going to have a conversation, but I'm not going to pick up those habits. I'm going to be myself in the midst of everybody else. And I expect them to do the same. Identify yourself right now. Don't be fake. Don't be a follower. Don't be an attention seeker. Don't be a knockoff, and don't be an enemy to yourself. I'm Mighty Motivation. Thank y'all for tuning in to this podcast. Continue to look out on this page. I am Teflon Don to see more of the content, not just from me, but from him and all the great people that he got on his shows, all the great people he's bringing in for podcasts. Hey, love y'all.
We would like to thank you for listening to this episode of The Art of Reinvention by Teflon John. And we encourage you to share this episode across all your social media platforms. And we also encourage you to visit our website at www.imteflonjohn.com and follow us on all our social media platforms at facebook.com/realteflonjohn, twitter.com/realteflonjohn, and instagram.com/realteflonjohn. And while you're on Facebook, go ahead and like our page so you can receive first-hand notifications every time we go live with the motivational video or any motivational content. And as I always say, one love, be blessed.